Okay. Agentic AI is a hot topic right now. And like a saying goes, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Many see agentic AI as the answer to every problem. We as Ultimus believe that AI agents used wisely, a lot of value can be generated for companies. But we are convinced as well that people will continue to play a central and often key role, especially in real business situations. In today's webinar, we will cover different areas. For example, to business, a demo of a real use case, and to people who know Ultimus, what extensions we did in this area. My name is Joachim Semhaas. I'm Director of Product Management, and I have with me Karl Freiheit, President of Ultimus, and Johnny Barakat, Director Knowledge and Training. Welcome to today's webinar. As usual, if you have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and we will answer as many of them at the end of the presentation. But now, let me hand over to you, Karl.
Thanks, Sam. And let me just try to go to my presentation. And let me tell you how this whole thing a little bit started a while ago. It was a partner we have, and he told us that we have a real use case, and what we need to do is in our company, the big problem is, or a recent problem is, when people have to get promoted or maybe get a new job profile, finding out the training and really identifying it. And also when, if you have identified it, to have it approved and documented. So, and that was more or less a starting point a while ago to have for this use case. And again, it was more or less a new role. Okay. And in this new role, somebody has to look for a training. And this is maybe not just going to the internet. You also need to maybe to check if you're a bigger company, what training you have available in your own company. You want to have maybe also make sure that if you are searching, but it's also your skills you have applied, so you don't make trainings which you already know. You also maybe have to understand which have good ratings from your colleagues. It's a question about when the training is and what it costs. It's maybe a very complex question, and so in AI likely can help in that regard. But it's not everything, because when you have maybe identified something, it's also important that this training you have selected is approved and booked in the sense that you, after you have done it, it's a skill database of your company is updated and everything is documented. Or another use case we just came across is simple broken hardware. And I'm talking about simple stuff at the moment. And it's about, a company which has about just 3 dedicated staff members assisting employees to find an appropriate laptop. So if you have a lot of employees, likely you need a few people just to answer these questions. And also here, I think there's a much more efficient way to handle this process. And again, and even here, when you have selected a laptop, it needs to be ordered, approved, and documented. So, and again, this is just an exemplary a sample of the solutions maybe which can be done. And just to set the expectations is to see what we try to do to show you. Remember, when you know us, from us, you get a portal. You can see it at the left side. That's our low-code BPM platform with all the different concerns. And we embedded within, for example, in our UI, the AI, which is a chatting capability, beside also a flowbot signaling, which we can do. Today's agenda, what we want to cover and what we want to go through is 2 things. One is this agentic AI, a life between hype and reality. My always comment to this is always, if would be an agentic AI service, I would feel very bad, because to some extent the expectations people have what I should do is much too high. So I would say I would not feel so comfortable. Let's really focus on the things which make sense. And also, in order to do that, we would like to cover a little bit what we did from a product point of view, which extensions we did, and really to enable AI-human collaboration, and at the end with the goal to achieve your better productivity. And then we also Johnny will do a skilled development solution. He really shows you the solution. At the beginning, I mentioned how it looks like in reality. And last but not least, we maybe also discuss a few other use cases and how Ultimus can help in that regard. let's start about the present situation. Here I would like to just use an article I recently found from Alan Sharp-Pitts, and he was a little bit, comes from deep analysis, and he just went to an user conference of AI in New York. I think it was 3-4 weeks ago, and you can find the source here in the internet, what he reported about that. And one thing, a few things I would like to highlight on that. Again, AI is still at the early stage. You know, you have, I think what's quite important that business and IT has to collaborate. It's not like an IT task. So, and you really should try to solve real business problems and not just following AI hype. And one thing which is very important, maybe one of the most one, is also data quality. If there are no data, an agent can do nothing. Agent need good data in order to can help you. And maybe the second biggest problem is please don't try to boil the ocean. Most of the projects fail because you just expect too much what can be happen. Really keep the focus what you want to do on a real goal where you really can save something short time and be very narrow on that. And again, involve users early. Have it not as an IT project, have really the business people involved from the first day. Again, bringing that maybe more to a formal thing, you know, let's say you have a goal, you want to achieve something which has a narrow focus, and you really think about whom you involve from the beginning. And then think about how agents can help you. And in that regard, have a few things in mind. This is one thing. Do I have the data? Do I really have the data available in order to do that? And the other thing is privacy. Because in one of the things we talk later, we talk about experts. For that, you need to have access to the, let's call it, to the skill database of your company. And you definitely want to make public your skill database in the internet. So likely you also need maybe an architecture which allows you to keep the data you're handling in a private environment. And before we go to the realization, let's also just have a quick look on where Ultimus comes. Ultimus, we know us, we are a provider of a digital process automation platform technology. And we always orchestrated people and systems to achieve enterprise goals like productivity and customer satisfaction. That was always what we did, and which we did the last 20 years. The thing what has changed in this equation is just making sure that we also can include AI agents. And we will likely to show you how to do that. And this in the realization includes architecture. It includes a little bit how to orchestrate these agents and also to make the BPM composing. So having said that, starting with architecture. Okay, let's start in this case with a private cloud or on-premise. Yes, you can also do it maybe in the internet, but again, let's assume it's private. And what such an architecture looks like. We don't have to talk about the Ultimus DPI server components, which is given, and which is, I think, we don't have to talk about. But at the end, what you need to have some components like agent orchestration, you need to have a large language model, and you need a memory in order to do that. And on the left side, you see just a list of different candidates which exist in the market which can do that. And again, even if this is just a short list, I'm quite sure that in each of these categories, you have at least 100. So what we did based on our experience and experience of our partners, we already selected a few, which is a good starting point for most of the projects we can imagine in our world. So we don't have to think so much. We really can start with that, and I can think we can achieve very quickly results doing that. In our case, we use N8N. We have also created an Ultimus LLM, which is at the end a white labeled version of Mistral 7B. And as a memory, we use this quadrant. Again, next is agent orchestration. Agent orchestration looks like that. You have a model where you do something. Coming a little bit linking it to our world, you will see it's a chat control. So we just need to make sure that this chat control is also part of our system, so we can really use that. Another thing is we talk about orchestration. Again, this is an 8 model which we will support and enable in our system. We also do others, but this is the one we're focusing most. We have this large language model, which is this Ultimus LLM, and we have memory we can use for this agent, or we can also use maybe for other agents we are using in our environment. So another important thing is the DPI import agent. But also a big learning what we did, if you try to put all this data exchange between the AI agent and our world in the original AI world, it's a little bit difficult and it's overload sometimes the task of these agents. So it was much better, and we have had much better results by having a separate and dedicated DPR import agent, which we also can have as an asset, which makes it really from the beginning very easy to bridge the two worlds and which we can provide to the project by default. And sure, last not least, we can use that to make a lot of new agents which are just doing what you need. Next important thing is we said we want to treat agents and humans. And again, and also here we have an existing solution, which was the Ultimus organization. What we just did is instead of only handling humans, we extended it with agents. So also now you can just include agents. And also Johnny will give you a short later insight about what it looks like. And another important thing which people often forget, it's really you need to tell the system which data you want to get back from the AI world. And also here we can use our existing data mapping technology, which we today use for SQL. We are just, you can see at the right side, we have this AI world where we just say which data should go into our world, which our CPS import agent can handle. And from a composing point of view, again, there's also a tool we did some extensions, which was the Visual Process Designer. If you see, by default, we all have these blue steps, which are our traditional way to make processes, where we have people or maybe some automation here, very simple one, just sending email, which was our traditional world. And you see also this other people in it. We made it now easy to also to include agents. And with which agents do we have? We have a chat control agent, which means if you link it to a step, automatically this step will have a chat control. And you can chat something which is helping you to perform the task you want. But also this chat can be part of an Ultimus application, or we can just make it applicable as a standalone chat application. We have task execute for people who know Ultimus, who know the expression flowboard. Again, it's a flowboard, but in this case, it's executed by agent. Another thing which is helpful is the decision instance, which helps us, can be used to make, based on the data which exists, to make decisions about the next step in the business flow. And last not least, we will have also, as you see at the end, our agents have an email or even can have an LL, natural language interface. This also we can use in order to have an agent even in front of a process, and the agent can help us to start the right process. So in all cases, which is quite important and very helpful, is because, you know, when we call an agent, it's coming out of a context. And out of the context, we have an authenticated user who want to log in. We have a case, we know also incident context, so we can make even the input for a user very simple, because the agent immediately knows where he can help, and we don't have to enter it at the beginning. And when we find something meaningful, our CPS import agent automatically in a seamless way converts that into structured data and brings it back to our system. Bringing all, again, final, you know, what has been added in our system is we added this UI. This is a chat control, like a text control. We have now a chat control in our UI, which and we make sure with DPA import agents, we can bridge both worlds, that what you have in the chat automatically goes into the other in our world. So just summarizing that very quickly, just have our architecture again in mind. You know, we can create these agents, we can new ones. All this agent we can connect with our import agent. It's like this is an asset. And remember, in our process designer, we can have maybe this in a consultant step, an interview step. This agent we define in our Ultimus organization. And the agent is also linked with the mapping information, with the training information, which automatically can be read by our CPS import agents, which at the end when can use that with the chat stuff in order to push the appropriate data into our system. And again, sorry for all that. It was maybe just giving an overview what we did and showing you how the things fit together. And I would like now Johnny to take over, and he will just give you a short demo about how it looks like in reality.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everyone, for joining our webinar. All right. So before I start doing the explaining about the AI agent in Ultimus, I will actually at first I'm going to start with the process itself. Today, I'm going to assume myself that I got a promotion from my manager, and he asked me to look for training about my promotion. It's actually about risk management. So I'm assuming or simulating this demonstration within Ultimus. I logged into Ultimus DPA portal with my own account, Johnny Barakat, and from the DPA portal, I can simply initiate this process to start looking for the course. The process name is Upskilling Coach. And basically, when I open the Upskilling Coach, I get the landing page for this is what you can see here on the left side is a chat control. This chat control is what is linked in the back end with N8N model that Carl explained about it. So what it does initially, it was able to identify my role. So it identified my role and it loaded my information. This identifying the role will help me or will help the agent to personalize the communication or the responses between me and the agent. And on the right side is an empty table for now. I'm going to show you what happens here. So, all right, nice. So now I'm going to ask the agent to look for a course related to risk management. So, hi, I am looking for a course in risk management. Can you propose something? It's a normal chat control. The chat control here, basically it initiated the back AI agent, and the AI agent will analyze your prompt, your message, using the OpenAI model. In addition to that, when you ask about training lists, if you don't find something online, we have integrated this agent to capture information from our ERP system. So this is why sometimes it can take little time. So what I see here is very nice response. Now they gave me 2 courses. They were able to give me the description of the course. I have now information about the start date, end date, duration, cost, etc. But if I'm not satisfied, of course, it's a chat control. I can say, can you propose more? Thank you. Be nice to the agent. So the agent actually in N8N or in other models, what we can do is we can train the agent to be more proactive. Like, for example, if you can say, I would like to look for a course within the certain budget, or maybe I would like to look a course for online only, or maybe on premise. So all these combination can be happen, and in one screen you can do this chat with the agent. So when it takes little time, this means it might retrieve some longer lists of trainings related to risk management, either online or even on-premise for universities, etc. Here we go. So the agent suggested 6 courses related to what I want, I think, related to management or leadership. This is completely fine. Now, from the name of the process, Upskilling Coach, for if you want to do upskilling, you would like to really select the right course for your role. So they have high expectation from you, so you want to have the right choice. In many cases, I would like to talk to an expert. I would like to have this conversation, get the feedback from people who are expert on a certain topic. So in using the chat control as well, I can say, nice. Can you propose expert about this topic? And to be sure, maybe 2 or 3 experts. Same thing applies to the backend model, to the workflow. This was quick, but the same agent is also capable to find you the right match for your skills. And here I have 3 experts. This is fine. Now what I can do next? So now I want to move back to the CPS world, to Ultimus world. I'm going to conclude the chat. So thank you. Let's say I'm done for today. And yeah, so I finished my chat. Now I need to do something. But before I do my planning, I need to select the course. I need to decide which course I want to take. So I need to chat with the expert. I want to have this conversation with the expert. Yeah, so that's nice. So what you see here on the right side is the now the import agent kicks in and convert or summarize my conversation with AI or with the agent, and then put it back in a structural data which can be understood by the form. So here on the left side, I see the list of courses that has been suggested and other information related to that. That's fine. I'm thinking about the crisis management. But before that, I'm going to check with my experts. So the import agent job is not only getting you the training list, they also can suggest you, can retrieve the people who get suggested, the experts. So from this list, this is generated based on the interview. So now I'm going to start my chat or conversation with the expert. For the conversation or for the chat, we are using Microsoft Teams integration. So this is simply, we wanted to have the chat from the same screen without jumping between different tools. So from here, I can start with a welcome message to introduce this group about which topic we are talking about, and I can also include the chat summary. This group will be created in the back end with Teams. They will get invitation. They will be invited to the Teams. And if I just gonna show you quickly that we have just new group has been created, and we have the invitee we have here, Christine, Elena, and John. This is great. And of course, we have, hi, Johnny. We have the synchronization between the teams and also the back end, or sorry, the CPS control. This is great. Now, assuming that I'm done, I know which course I would like to take, and I'm gonna go to the planning. The workflow, as we know, it gives you different flexibility. You have, let's say, I would like to continue searching. I didn't find the right course for me. So you can simply know, I would like to continue the interview and I come back later. This is completely fine. And if you say, yes, I'm done with the interview, I know which course I'm gonna select, you can simply, yes, I'm gonna stop the interview. And I even need to stop talking to experts. They helped me already. Thank you so much. So what we see next in the planning part. In the planning part, initially, we are displaying my timeline. So if I see here below, I can see my timeline. I'm able now to see my available free days for the training. So this is assuming this. So, and I also see the timeline of others. This is just a representation because I'm a team lead in my company. I get the promotion, and I have also can see the timeline of others. This timeline actually is Ultimus control, but the timeline itself can be integrated with Outlook timeline or any other calendar used by the company. The timeline shows you different statuses for the availability. Empty is the white space, and we have blue for trained and approved and vacation. So now this is nice. And below that, I can also see the list that has been imported by the agent back to my form. So I'm gonna select the crisis management. And once I select the crisis management, I can confirm my selection. Once I confirm my selection, my training is set to planning. Now what I need is, I'm gonna send this request to my manager, to my team lead, and I'm asking to approve. And then I wait for the final decision from them. This is basically how I start the initiation, interview, conclude the chat, planning, etc. Allow me to explain, if you don't mind, the idea behind this upskilling coach and how we did it. So from the dashboard here, you see here on the left side, top left side, the upskilling coach workflow or process map, what we call in Ultimus. What I was when I initiated this process, this represents the launch step. So on the launch step, as we can see here, it's designed by an assistant. When we have an assistant on a step, it means the step will include a chat control and assistant in the backend. So what happened here, after I'm done all my planning and everything, I submitted my request. It will go to my approver team, to my team lead to get the approval. Of course, the team lead, he has certain decisions he can take, he can approve, he can reject, or even he can return it back asking for more information. So let's say if everything went well, the team lead approved, it will go again to check with the budget. So this workflow actually can be changed based on the customer requirement. The budget's the same approach. They can approve, they can reject. And if everything is positive feedback, we simply call the agent, which is execute agent, the one mentioned by Carl. The agent has the same concept like the assist agent, but it's working in the back end. You don't have initiation from a chat control. Basically, we link this agent to several activities or tasks or actions that he can do. And we have an orchestrator is, you can say, routing these calls based on the prompt coming from the budget or from the approved team. So this is basically about the workflow. At the end, we are notifying Johnny if he got the training or not. Yeah, and the booking can happen automatically with the ERP system or the accounting system. This is about the workflow. Now, what about the agent or about the chat control? The chat control, as explained, this is just an interface of an agent. So what you see in front of you, it's a model built using N8N model or technology. We have main agent orchestrator, the interviewer itself, and the interface for that is a chat control. So message comes, message go out to the chat control. The agent, I'll quickly explain how this agent works. So any prompt coming from the chat control needs to be analyzed by the LLM, by the OpenAI chat model. This chat model can be LLM, can be Ultimus, can be any online or offline model, AI model, does not matter. Once it is analyzed, it will be added or stored into our memory. This will help you come back to your chat history later on to continue the research. And yeah, this is basically the two things by default it is doing. Initially, when I logged into the system and I opened the process, the agent called the profile loader. Profile loader is now I understand who is Johnny and I get his information. And the same thing happened when I do the rest. When I ask about trainings, they get the trainings. When I ask about experts, they call the tool for the matcher. And then basically this is most of the things they're doing by default. And when I conclude the chat or at any certain trigger or event, backend event, the system is making sure it's calling, we can say, the import agent. Import agent is trained to collect information based on predefined outputs. Like in my case, I need to get the training list, I need to get the chat summary, I need to get expert list. So this is all happening with the import agent. And finally, also as a built-in Ultimus, as assets, you can say, within the agent world, we have the audit agent. Audit agent is quite interesting because what it does basically, it's logging all the transaction that this agent is doing, including the transaction calls, also including in some cases when you have LLM model, which takes money, like it has a cost. So this agent is doing this cost logging or auditing. And of course, once you have this data, you can have a nice overview about the consumption. Speaking about that, I have this tile here about the AI consumption for the monthly, for the month. Like in this example, the agent or audit agent was capable to collect information or transaction about the OpenAI, Amazon, and Google. And we can see that we can build such a report or such a chart. This is consumption by agent. You can have an overview about the user, the consumption by user and the usage, etc. Of course, you can evaluate this data and based on that, you can create other reports. And finally, here on the top left side, we have the Ultimus organization chart. This is our famous Ultimus organization chart. This is basically is used for the process because, employees can belong to different departments. And if you want to know which supervisor needs to approve my request, this is coming as a built-in from the organization chart. This is basically about the process upskilling coach. Now, technically, how do we reach to this point? Like how I have the chat control or how we can add this agent into Ultimus world. For that, we have actually we treat the agents within Ultimus somehow as a human, as a normal users. So for normal users, we add users we have an application called Ultimus Organization. And now we use this application not only for users, also for agents. So by default, we have lists of users. We can see the users' information. As you can see, you can filter by users and you can also filter by agents. So agents somehow are acting like a user inside Ultimus world. How we add agents? We can add agents from this application. So if I go to the top right of the screen, I can add a new agent. You need to provide the agent details, agent name, agent username, and other details that is needed. And of course, you specify the agent type. So Carl explained about these types, about the initiator. Maybe initiator is required to get email or mobile because maybe you want to chat with an agent on WhatsApp or you want to send an email to an agent to do some stuff. So this is more not only for processes, also for public interface. And last but not least, you can have tags. You can categorize your agent by finance, by support, by knowledge, by. And we can also provide profile, drag and drop a profile, or generate a profile picture for the agent from here as well. So this is basically how we get the initial agent information. Now we go to the agent configuration. Agent configuration is also not too complex. So what we do here is we select this agent belongs to which model. So from here, I can say this is LangChain, this is LangFlow, this is Anytime, etc. At the same time, I have a screen to add the access information about the agent, depends on the type of the agent. Nevertheless, for each agent, we need to do some training. And Carl showed you how we map agent outputs or agents with CPS data or with Ultimus data. So the output of this, or the end result of this, we creating adapters and functions. And each agent can have, like, let's say N8N, we can have one or multiple methods. At the same time, you can add more and more and more actions. Like as an example for agent of the import agent, this is where we set that I need to get the training, I need to get the experts, I need to get the summary. So you have 3 different adapters. This is all pre-built and easy to configure. Now, we have the agent, how we use the agent. For now, we use agent in our process designer. Process designer is the application where we use to automate workflow, and not only workflow forms or screens. So in the process designer here, I'm going to show you how we add agents. Basically, like I add users, the same logic, agent is like users somehow. So I can add also agents. So from here, I can select the user and I can select an agent. And if I would like to have a chatbot on my chat control of my initial step, for example, I select assistant from here. So basically, this is it from my side, Carl. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I give it to you.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. Let me just maybe share my screen again. Okay. And let's just continue. Again, let me say it's a typical, maybe what we showed you, and it was a C use case, was something like following a pattern, like you have AI assistants where AI helps you to identify the right training, the right laptop, whatsoever. You also have the capability, when appropriate, maybe also to collaborate with others, chat with experts in order just to find a final solution. And at the end, when you come to that, you also need to have it approved, executed, and documented. Just take the example with the skill database. We talked about data is key. It might be useful after the training. It's automatically updated in the skill database that you successfully completed the training. So, and types of use cases in that area is which training, which we discussed, or which laptop. Or maybe when I showed this presentation to somebody last week, he said also, maybe also supplier. We have about a few hundred facilities, and when it comes to just repairing the roof, might be stupid, it's always a big thing, whom should we use? It can be also a good tool in order for stupid stuff in a bigger environment, just to decide maybe whom we are using. And again, these are just examples, and there are other use cases of completely other character. product support and training. We are using it. We will use it in a way that we have also this chat capability. And if you don't find the right answer, we automatically can create a support case. We can use it in finance reconciliation. In our case, when we have some financial data we get from the authorities and we have in our books, it needs to be checked. Loan and claims is something which is very useful in all kinds of onboarding, staff, patients, customers. And something I would like to mention also here is ESG. It's a project we're doing at the moment. It's about environment, social governance, not so much on the environment and the social, but using really data coming from that area to identify growth opportunities where a company maybe can, out of that context, earn some, can also get some additional revenue, or even identify risk. If not identified, it can cost a lot. Imagine in the past when you talk about supply chain, and if you don't really understand your supply chain correctly and don't take appropriate measures, it can be very expensive for you if there's a thing you have not overseen. And sometimes this can help you to have priorities for plan Bs. Okay, bringing all together, I would say, look, hopefully we have been able to show you that from Ultimus side, we have the technology in order to handle that. We have the service to do that. And also we also invested in some assets, which we already did before we start, so to make the first step earlier. And if you want to do something, I think we can set the environment very quickly. We can orchestrate the agents and put it in production, have your MVP very fast, considering what we just said. We can do it. We have partners. We have a good ecosystem to help you in that regard. So I think we are here in order to help you, if you want to think in this way, to make the next really successful step. And at this point, I think we are done with the presentation, but I think we also have a few minutes left for Q&A, and I would hand over to Selma again, who is managing this part.
Thank you, Karl. Okay, yes, I got the first questions here, and thanks for those who are sharing the questions. Let me take the first question here. Does Ultimus orchestrate AI agents? Yes, absolutely. We are providing you with the complete package, the full AI-enabled package, and this includes the architecture, the orchestration, the process, coaching, and much more. Okay, what about cost and effort? What's the effort of implementing AI with Ultimus? Effort is a bit trickier, as it's with AI. There is no guarantee outcome, and it is not deterministic. So it might be additional efforts to improve also the quality of existing data. Overall, and like with most of all the things, it's like the 80-20% rule is a good balance between outcome and effort. For example, the ROI of the laptop solution that Karl mentioned, the solution is the cost in the range of 1 person year, which means 1 to 2 people can do what in the former time 3 people could do. And concerning missing data, maybe Karl, you had this ESG project where you talked about what?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Again, we did that, and one thing again, as said, we want to use this KI to also to identify risk or maybe also opportunities. And one part of it was to create this double maturity metrics, and which the idea was to use really KI and AI to come to this point. So we did that, and what we realized, we got really fantastic, good looking output, but it was not really depth. It was not really, the content was not really, it was too general, it was not customer specific, and it was not difficult to use. So what we decided, one thing to do is it might improve if we have a library of best practice, which is more or less fulfilling what we need in order really to identify risk and identifying opportunities. So now the question was how we can do that. So what we did, we decided to have this best practice vector database, and we needed to fill it with data. So, but we wanted to have it filled with good data. So we created a small process where just the people who are in the ecosystem have been able to upload best use cases. And there was a second step. Somebody looked in it, approver, and if you think it's a good best practice for what we can need, he pressed a button, and then the system brought it to our vector database. This improved our quality in a very big way. It's not the final thing we have to do, but again, just saying when data is missing, our technology also can help. Or when you think about the skill database, it might be good to do that, but maybe not everybody of your employees has filled the skills. So also here we can make a small process, asking people to complete their data, have it approved by their team lead or manager, and make sure that it goes to the skill database. So also here we can help to make the first step easier. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks. Okay, next section. Where does your AI run? Our Ultimus AI architecture supports both public cloud AI services, but also on-prem and privately hosted AI, as you saw from the architecture. So which keeps the data really secure and safe in your environment. And the key is, in fact, it's your data and it's your privacy and security requirements which defines this approach and the implementation part. Okay. Oh yeah, this seems to be a question to Johnny. How does CPS import agent actually convert unstructured data to structured data and then customize that logic?
Yeah, yes, Sam. Remember when Carl showed you this slides about mapping information or data from CPS to the agent? So like I mentioned as well, like each agent, you need to do some agent training, and the training requires to define what is expected output format. And this is how you do it, actually. Yeah. So yes, we have a built-in tool for that. And it is very flexible.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Johnny. Okay. I have another question. Oh, this is also for you, Johnny. Can I customize the AI agent flow, for example, by adding more tools?
Yes, we have the expert. Yes, of course, all these flows are designed to have to be customizable, the model like N8N, etc. We do have the expertise, and we also have the expertise to, you can say, train the customer on how to use these tools. So we both are available, like if we do it or the training.
Thank you. Okay, here's a good question. How does Ultimus ensure that AI doesn't replace, but rather support human roles in business processes? Yeah, this is in fact the beauty of our technology. We can, as you saw in the process designer, we can compose what is done by people and what is done by AI agents. And in fact, it's like today. In fact, you decide who is doing which task, and you will not give a complex task to a person who has not the right skills. So you decide what you do, and at the end, it's the hand of the implementer. Carl, maybe from planning point of view, I remember that we had some discussions in this area.
Yeah, yes. Again, part of the thing when we included this AI, we decided that we keep AI agents into our Ultimus organization. And one part was also when we needed to more or less capture also capabilities what agents have. So by doing that, we realized that our more or less our database, which is keeping the data of our people, does know nothing about the skills and capabilities of our employees. So as a next step, what we will do is we will also go to our human database and extend it with skills and expertise in a very pragmatic way, something like a pragmatic, not like sophisticated as LinkedIn, but necessary enough, good enough for a company. This will allow us, remember when also Johnny said the process design, maybe we, by having this information, we can help also to decide if we give a task to a user or to an agent. But having said that, all this depends on the skill level, and you decide about how much control you give to the agents and how much you want to do by the people. That's the beauty of our technology. So I think we always want to make sure that humans have the oversight and don't lose control.
Great, thanks. There's another technology question. I think this is also something for Johnny. Can I build AI agents using any AI technology and integrate them with Ultimus?
Yes, from Ultimus side, yes, we do support any AI, but from the workflow models like N8N, maybe they can have limitation on a certain stuff. I remember, I think one of them, they have issue with DeepSeek. Nevertheless, we support not only N8N, so we support others. So yes, it is possible. It shouldn't be a limitation in this case.
Okay, and this is more a question that's is answered by you, Carl. What is the difference between Ultimus and other tools like n8n? I think Ultimus is more the orchestration of human-centric workflows with integrating different stuff, form handling, org chart escalation handling.
Yeah, but as you said it, it's a little bit Ultimus we orchestrate on a, let's say, high business level, and to some extent, and when it comes to the agent, I would say you do it more at a micro level, where you really do a lot of things, finding out experts, research, and bringing it together in one chat. But then, when it comes to business decision, we want to have it audited. As we said before, there are measures, or maybe even if somebody is not answering, then the task goes in a approval process to a user. It has to be escalated if it's not answered, and something. All these things which happens with a human interface in real life, exceptions, compliance, we handle in our world.
Yeah.
And as I said, our world is make sure that we have the compliance. The thing with an agent, you never have ensured compliance to some extent. That's the reason this is a big benefit. And I think I also see a question about which partners we have, okay? And yes, we have, for example, if the partner comes from a partner, the question comes from a partner. Yes, in Germany, we are working very closely together with Metafinance. And on the other hand, we have also, when it comes to other countries, we also have partners there. And I think one thing I want to mention is that we have, how should I say, the capability to have the local expertise, this, managing the system, but also have good, let me say, a good price ratio to have experts, and let's call it in more low-code country. Because when you do these projects, you will find out that it's not just that you tell the agent something and when he can do something. There's also a lot of testing, promoting behind, and there's a lot of also human work behind in order to achieve something meaningful. So really what we can do, balancing out, having local expertise on site together with the customer, and have the heavy work done at a place in the world which is more cost efficient.
Thank you, Karel. Okay, I have another question. Does the architecture allow to build multi-agent systems? Do you plan MCP, the Model Context Protocol interaction? Can you currently implement custom tools? Okay, 3 questions. So from the architecture point of view, yes, multi-agent system is possible because at the end we are providing a platform for integrating different tools together, and it's in fact our decision what to integrate, and we are open in this area. And this multi-context protocol, in fact, we're already partly following this approach. With this approach, so here is yes. And can you currently implement custom tools? Of course, especially the interfaces that we have allows us to implement any kind of tool which has the proper API for it. So a clear yes also for the last part.
And I think it's a good thing we can mix the best of both worlds if appropriate. And as said, don't take me wrong when I'm saying it, we are in a world everybody is a little bit, there's a big hype about agentic AI. We believe in that. I think you can do a lot. But again, it's not the only hammer in the world which exists. So really stay still wise and look at what you really want to solve, which real problem you have, and decide what you want to do with AI, what you do maybe with traditional automation technologies. And I think the mixture of both can give you a lot of value, and you don't have actually to wait. And the good thing is, if AIs become better in the future, you take your solution and just maybe replace a human with an AI agent or just change it. But the solution stays the same. Just maybe the effort to achieve it gets less in the future. So I think it's a quite powerful model.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, now last question. Is it possible for an AI agent to access a process form and provide decision-making support? Technically, yes. The data is available. The agent can access it, and we have both decision agents for the form, but also decision agent in the step. So clear yes in this area. Okay, good. I think we are closely running out of time. So to everybody, thanks for joining. Thanks for the question. Yes, of course. Carl just mentioned the remaining questions, if they are still coming, we will answer them by email and get in touch with you. So feel free to ask further questions also maybe by email and by chat. Gentlemen, ladies, thanks for joining. And Carl, joining, thanks for the good presentation.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks to everybody for joining again, and bye. Have a nice day.
Same. Bye-bye.